Yo, what's up? It's time for Rebreak Radio episode 16. Today we're going to talk about Horizon Zero Dawn, The Frozen Wilds, my impressions of it specifically. We're going to talk about how Rocket League is running on Nintendo Switch, and also some general Switch news, and a lot of Star Wars news. So, today I am joined by Oscar.
Hello. I am here also, yes.
You are also
That's
here.
not correct English.
You are
It usually
also
gets
here
better
as
along the
usual.
way.
You're
Yeah.
you're just here, like you're just here. You're just hanging around.
I'm in cyberspace, just somewhere between reality and the internet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing well. Yeah. So I mean, all things considered, it's pretty good. How are you? How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty well. Was playing some Rocket League on Switch before. We're gonna talk about that later. But first, we're gonna talk about Horizon Zero Dawn, The Frozen Wilds.
Yeah. Oh, and I'm gonna turn off my phone.
So yeah, Horizon Zero Dawn, The Frozen Wilds is the DLC pack for Horizon Zero Dawn. And yeah, it's I guess
Yeah, so
we haven't
Horizon
really
Zero Dawn is like...
yeah, we haven't really talked about Horizon Zero Dawn on the show, so I guess I'm just gonna quickly summarize my thoughts on Horizon.
Yeah.
So I like the game. I actually I really like the story a lot. And the gameplay is really cool. Specifically the enemy design, like the robot dinosaurs in the game. I really like those a lot. You have to think a lot about. You have to think about tactics, and you have to be quick on your feet and think about different strategies and how to take them down. They're really fun to battle, and I think some of the things that I really don't like about the game is the fact that it's an RPG, and I think the game shines pretty much throughout the entire thing, except when you hit the RPG elements. The RPG elements
That's
are...
like, it has perk trees and other things.
Yeah, I when I talk about Horizon, I usually compare it to Breath of the Wild because they're very comparable. But Horizon Zero Dawn has a lot of similar like skills to Link in Aloy in Horizon Zero Dawn has a lot of similar skills to Link in Breath of the Wild. And like, for example, you can in Breath of the Wild you can do like a stealth attack to kill an enemy who hasn't seen you. You can use different items. You can get slow motion in the air and all of this stuff. Like, there are a lot of like different features in Breath of the Wild that are already unlocked from the beginning, or if they aren't unlocked from the beginning, you have unlocked them within the first 45 hours, basically. 45 minutes, I mean.
Yeah.
The
I'm
problem...
just gonna get my share. Yeah.
The problem...
Sorry about that.
No worries. The problem with Horizon Zero Dawn is that everything is locked behind a skill tree, which I don't like. So, for example, you have this, like, professional hunter that you're playing as, right? Like, she's really good at what she's doing, but for some reason, she can't kill people when they haven't seen you, so you have to unlock that in a skill tree. It's it's just dumb. I don't understand this point of skill trees. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah. It's kind of like you're stabbing somebody in the back, and then the guy that was stabbed is asking you, like, do you have this assassin
Have you
perk?
unlocked this skill yet? You're like, no, now I have seen you.
Yeah, I am not going to die from this.
Yeah. And also, just this section that I'm at right now in the DLC, like this bandit camp, where you're supposed, like, there are a bunch of human enemies. Like, the human enemies are really boring. I'm gonna get to why they're boring to fight. Because it's so RPG. You can shoot someone in the head with a fucking hardpoint arrow, and they won't die.
It's just like Skyrim then.
It fucking sucks. I hate it so much. Like, I get this, like, awesome arrow shot, like, pew, and fucking right in the head, and he doesn't die.
Yeah. And these are like arrows that you use to shoot like mecha dinosaurs.
Yeah, exactly. You can kill.
Because this game is about mecha dinosaurs and killing them, so.
Yeah, you can take down a fucking robot T-Rex with this arrow. Obviously, multiple of those arrows, but it makes sense when it's a large creature. But when you shoot a human in the head with a hardpoint arrow, he should die.
Just walk it off, man. Just walk it off.
I just think it's I just think it's really stupid because like games should make sense. Like, and I think RPG elements really don't make sense. But we've talked about this a lot. So but yeah, those are basically my simple thoughts about Horizon. I thought it was a great game, but the RPG elements really hurt it in the long run, in my opinion. So yeah, but the Frozen Wilds is basically just more of the same. It has a lot of new, actually not a lot. It has 3 new monsters. Oh, one of them is like this kind of like big fire lion. Like if you played Horizon, it's kind of like the Sawtooth, but now it's a lot of fire on it. So, and it's like super fast, and like 2 hits from it and you're dead. It's really hard to battle, and it's fun to battle it. I do, however, think that a lot of the RPG elements are kind of coming in more in this DLC for some reason. Like, I don't really know why, but I feel like it feels like at that point when you are in an RPG and you're entering one of these points that you're not supposed to go to because they're higher level than you.
Yeah,
but the problem,
and then they just crush you because they're like, you haven't gotten to their level, so they basically just kill you in one hit.
Yeah, exactly. And even though Horizon has a leveling system, it's only like more dedicated to progression than your power. I don't think you actually get stronger anytime in game, except when you buy stronger weapons. So I feel like this is like this. Maybe I'm just worse at the game since I haven't played it in a while. But I don't know. It just feels like they are overpowered to me. But maybe I just need to spend more time with it. But yeah, to me they just kind of feel overpowered. It feels like they've made there is this kind of plot point that's surrounding everything that is like this daemon or something that is making all the monsters stronger. And honestly, I don't think it was necessary. I don't think you need to make. There was no point in making the monsters stronger. They were already strong and menacing in the original game. So yeah. Another problem I have at the game is that in the Frozen Wilds, which is this new area, or it's actually called the Cut, but whatever, it's obviously snow everywhere, and there is basically a snowstorm at all times, and it makes it
even
impossible.
The name, I guess it makes sense.
Yeah, it makes it impossible to see anything. And for anyone who's spent like some time in Breath of the Wild, for instance, will know that Breath of the Wild is the world in Breath of the Wild is so brilliantly designed because there are viewable
is it like waypoints, like the towers?
There are viewable landmarks in Breath of the Wild. Like you can just get up on something and you can see the volcano, you can see the snow mountain, you can see the desert. Like you can always navigate the world by just looking at what's around you, and that is completely impossible in this world because of the snowstorm. And I think it would have been I don't know, maybe I just haven't played it enough, but I feel like the snow never goes away. There might be some different levels of snow, but I never feel like I see any kind of landmarks that I can navigate with. And it's really annoying because I have to use the waypoints all the time.
Does Horizon Zero Dawn have like a survival system where you have to keep warm, or is it just like visually annoying?
Yeah, it's just visual. The snow is really cool.
I know that's one thing that Breath of the Wild do have. It's like a temperature thing, and that also makes like it a bit more interesting when you're actually in a colder environment. It's not only visually; it actually is hurting you.
Yeah. On that point of waypoints that I kind of forgot when I summarized my view of the original game. If you look at So Horizon is kind of a mix between something like Breath of the Wild and something like Uncharted. There are like some more kind of linear points of the game where you go into like a building and you're like climbing the building or something. It's very similar to Uncharted. Difference between Horizon and Uncharted is that Uncharted though it doesn't have any waypoints. You're just kind of exploring on your own and finding your own way through. While Horizon is like, go this way, go this way, go this way, go this way. You're like, I know I'm supposed to go that way because there's literally no other way to go, but you're telling me to go this way constantly. And there's just no freedom for me to explore. Or like, when I explore, it feels more like I'm forcing myself to explore rather than the game allowing me to explore and giving me some space to explore, you know?
Yeah,
And
I
even though
understand
in a
what you
game
mean.
like Uncharted, there isn't like a lot to explore, like if you go too far off the course, you'll just hit the wall, you know? But like it's still
Mm.
allowing you to find your way through, even though there may only be one way through.
Yeah, it's exciting.
Yeah.
Just like walking around can be exciting, or it can be just like get to point A, no, point B from point A. It's really about how you design the game
Yeah. And
and the environments.
yeah,
Yeah.
so that's kind of been annoying me, and I haven't been playing the game a lot because the RPG elements are really annoying me this time around for some reason, and
Mm.
they didn't in the original game. So I don't know
I,
why I'm getting more annoyed with them right now.
I think we're like very negative when we come to these kinds of games. We're like we focus on the bad things. Maybe we should try, like, what do you think was good about this expansion?
Yeah, like obviously I'm not done with it at all yet. But my impressions like so far is that yeah, the story is cool, like the characters are cool. Aloy is just the same like fun and kind of sarcastic character that she was in the in the original. So yeah, like she's a great character still. Um and yeah, like the monster battles are still fun and exciting and hard
Mm.
and all this stuff, and the world around you, like when you actually get to the interesting point after following the waypoint, you get to the interesting points of the world, and that's where the world really shines. It's just that the exploration of the world isn't fun. But yeah, like the
Mm.
game, still a great game, and if you have Zero Dawn, you should get this. And if you feel like you didn't get your full Horizon fix with the real game, so yeah, it's more
Yeah.
Horizon. If whether you liked it or not, it's more Horizon.
That sounds good.
Yeah. So just some quick thoughts on Rocket League for Nintendo Switch.
This is
Similarly,
like the
uh,
best game, but this is like one of the like we have the games that just come out for every console and it just works, and this like Minecraft and Rocket League,
yeah,
they're like become some of the staple games of the modern age.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
So Rocket League on Switch it's Rocket League. It's just straight up Rocket League, just as you remember it on
footballs and
any other
cars.
platform. Yeah, runs at 60 frames per second. I have not noticed any frame rate drops. Only like I think I saw some frame rate drops in like the main menu, but it's like not during gameplay. Um, there are very noticeable visual downgrades, but the resolution itself isn't bad. I think there are some aliasing and stuff like that. The Switch version does not have the dynamic grass that the other versions have, but like who the fuck cares? But yeah, you can definitely see some
Yeah.
aliasing in the distance, but the ball is big enough that you can always see it at all times. So
Mm.
it's a functional version of Rocket League, and it's a great version of Rocket League. Um, that yeah, it just looks a little bit
You,
worse, but that's kind of the trend with Switch games. You're kind of trading the graphics for the portability. So
yeah, I think this is kind of a thing also that when it comes to graphics, sometimes games implement like maybe half of the processing power. This is just science out of my, like, it's not really scientific, but sometimes it's like, yeah, we implemented god rays and made grass better, so now it's twice as demanding.
yeah,
But it doesn't really impact the game much. It's just like, yeah, the game has very good shadows, so now it's like super heavy on the processor.
Yeah, exactly.
Sometimes a downgrade is not really a big deal. It's like dynamic grass. Who cares?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would imagine that like the biggest when it comes to like asset making, I'm sure like the most job they had to do was actually making grass textures because they had dynamic grass in the original game.
Yeah, and that's like the cars and the like the gameplay is what people like anyway.
Yeah. And that's
football with cars. That's amazing.
Yeah. Going into the Switch version, I was a bit worried that the fact that the Switch none of the Switch controllers have analog triggers, which are obviously very important for car games. But I didn't feel it was a problem here at all. You're either not accelerating or you are accelerating fully, and if you want some kind of speed in between, you just kind of tap it a little bit, and yeah, it works fine. So no problems there at all. I also tried playing using a single Joy-Con, and obviously it was a little bit awkward, like accelerating and braking with the tiny little triggers that are on it. You know, we played the snipper clips, so you know kind of what I'm talking about. Yeah,
that was pretty fun though.
Yeah,
but it's not optimal to play with. Like more demanding games are difficult with one Joy-Con.
Yeah, it's not optimal, but that's kind of the case with the single Joy-Cons. It's not the optimal way to play, but it is a way to play. It is a way for you to always have...
Does this game have local multiplayer?
Yeah, so the game has split screen multiplayer. I think up to 4 players. I know it's
two. Really good.
I know there's support for 2 at least. I think there should be up to 4. I don't know why there wouldn't be. And there is also exclusive to the Switch version. There is local multi-system multiplayer. So if you have multiple Switch units with Rocket League on it, you can wirelessly play multiple players.
That's really good.
Yeah,
that's something that like many games doesn't have, is local multiplayer. And with Switch, it's just perfect with the Joy-Cons, because you can play, like, you don't need more than one controller and you can play 2 people. So that's amazing.
Yeah. Exactly.
We also talked about like how it can be you can play with people on the PS4 and like
no, you can't play with people on PS4. Only PC and Xbox One.
Oh yeah.
And that is because Sony
PS4
is
the exception.
Yeah, that's because PlayStation are being bitches about crossplay. So you don't want to be part of the future.
I see. Yeah.
But yeah, you can play with
everyone else.
You can play with PC players and Xbox One players. I don't know how you set up a game with a PC player or anything like that. I don't know if it's only like in like random matchmaking that you're set up against people on other platforms or anything like that. But yeah, I don't know how that works yet. But there should be support because they've said it and they've marketed it. So if you're interested in that, you can go research that further. Yeah. Also, lastly on the Rocket League for Switch topic, there are two exclusive cars to the Switch version. So you have the Mario/Luigi car, which will be Mario on the orange team and Luigi on the blue team. Then you also have the Samus car, or more Samus gunship, and it will be designed after the classic Varia suit on the orange team, and it's designed after Zero Suit Samus on the blue team. So yeah, I thought that was a really creative way to do different colors on Samus.
Yeah, Nintendo likes to do this thing where they make like Mario or Nintendo themed costumes for characters, or in this case, like I guess specialized cars.
Yeah.
In their games on the Switch or any other console. It's really, I mean, it's a fun thing, I guess. It's not a big deal, but it's fun.
I think it's a great way to motivate developers to bring their games to the Switch by saying like, oh, if you bring our game to the Switch, you can have some kind of Mario thing in it or something, you know? because there are a
Yeah.
lot of the game developers that are Nintendo fans, even though they may not be on Nintendo platforms.
Mm. That's actually true. I didn't think about that, but of course, game developers love Nintendo. That's what we've been growing up with.
Yeah, or at least the people that grew
Mario.
up with the right games.
Yeah, not the wrong games. The good kind of people.
Yeah, exactly. So let's move on to the news stories. So the structure of today's show is going to be a little bit different. We didn't have any major topics to talk about today. So we're simply going to take a few news stories and just kind of go through them. So the first one was that Nintendo is reportedly upping Switch production to 25 to 30 million units in 2018.
Woo!
That's insane.
I'm gonna go.
Like if Nintendo sells all of these units in 2018, that means they have like theoretically passed the Xbox One.
Yeah, the Xbox One has like 30 million sales since late 2013, I think.
Yeah,
but that's like several years of sales.
Yeah.
So
since Microsoft is like the quote unquote losing company in console war,
yeah,
they don't like to share their sales numbers. But Sony recently announced their shipping numbers to be 65 million.
That's good.
So that's the amount of units they've shipped, not sold through. So I would assume that sold through is somewhere between 60 and 65 million. I would guess. And reports from a lot of third-party sources, not necessarily third-party developers, say that the PlayStation to Xbox One sales ratio is 2-1.
Yeah, it's probably something like that. I think Xbox is about 30 million now.
Yeah. So yeah, the general consensus is PlayStation 4 60 million, Xbox One 30 million, and that means that if Nintendo reaches 30 million units in 2018, that means they've passed Xbox One in, let's see, less than half the time.
Really impressive.
Yeah, I mean, less than half the time. That's crazy.
And they say that they're aiming for about 70 million in May. So I guess we'll see then if they have actually reached like the half-point goal.
Yeah.
But that would be really, even if they don't make it in 2018, it's I mean, it seems likely to me that they'll probably pass the Xbox One.
Yeah.
In 2019. Yeah.
Yeah. It's crazy how well the Switch is selling, but yeah.
They have to make like a Scorpio version or a Pro version of the Switch later that has 4K. No,
I do think though, because of like the Switch is using like the Tegra processor, Nvidia's Tegra processor, and that is obviously based on like mobile technology and also modern desktop technology. So I think the Switch is very likely to be. It's very possible for Nintendo to actually make more. To make a better version of the Switch that is backwards compatible with the older games. Just by nature of it being the same kind of hardware.
Yeah, they probably just have to like make it like upgrade the graphics card and other processors.
Yeah, so I would imagine we will see something like that in the future. But that's a topic for another day. So next up here is Grezzo.
Weird new Zelda game.
Yeah, Grezzo, the development studio behind the 3DS remakes of Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, are recruiting people for a new project that is using Unreal Engine 4. And so on the website for Grezzo, they the banner of the article, or what to say about it, is, "Would you like to make a legend together too?" And that was the same term, or a similar term, as they used when they were hiring people for Majora's Mask 3D. And then they said, "Would you like to make a legend together?" So
now it's like it's the second one. It's "Would you like to make a game too?" And then it's not only two. It's like the number.
Yeah, it's literally
also
a number 2.
Mm.
So
Majora's Mask too.
so obviously, since Grezzo they've made two Zelda remakes previously. They um they have this kind of weird banner term in their website that very closely relates to Majora's Mask, and the project is also called Legend. So these are
Mm.
three clues to the fact that this is most likely a Zelda game.
Yes.
So the question is, and they're specifically looking for C++ programmers with experience in Unreal Engine, as well as 3D character and map modelers. So, I mean, and also before we speculate on it, what is very important to note as well is that the last game that Grezzo did was a 3DS RPG called Ever Oasis that was not connected to the Zelda games at all. So what do you
Yeah,
think?
so it's possible that they will make something new too.
Yeah. So what do you think this is?
I think it's unlikely that it's a Zelda game because I can't really think of what Zelda game it would be. I mean, it would be a completely new one, I guess.
Yeah, that's the question, right? Like, what game would they be remaking if they're remaking a game? You know?
Yeah, and would it be for the Switch or would it be
Yeah, I mean,
for
no, it can't
3DS?
be for 3DS. This is an Unreal Engine game. The
Oh yeah,
3DS can't
sorry.
run Unreal Engine.
I think we spoke a bit about this earlier, and it's also very surprising that they're actually using the Unreal Engine because when Nintendo makes games, they usually
Yeah,
I've never seen
they have
Nintendo
internal
use an.
engines. They don't really use commercial engines ever.
So this is really something unheard of to me.
Yeah. So my speculation on this is that they started making the Zelda remakes,
Mm.
of course, and then they've also done some other contract work for Nintendo.
Mm.
Specifically, I think they made like two of the mini games in Street Pass.
We're getting to like some really like detailed information
Yeah.
that people that only are like super Nintendo fans know.
Yeah, exactly. But then they got the opportunity to make their own game, Ever Oasis. So my speculation on this is the fact that they started as a remake studio. So, and they kind of proved themselves in showing like, yeah, look, we can make a competent game, but this is with a blueprint of a previous game, right? So then they got the opportunity to make their own game, which was Ever Oasis. So now the question is, was
Maybe
Ever
they're making a
Oasis
new
a
platform.
test for them to make an entirely original Zelda game?
Mm. Yeah, maybe they're making a new Zelda game, or maybe they're making something that's completely new. Maybe it will be a mainstay for the Nintendo like series of games.
Yeah.
Maybe it's like Nintendo clone, the Legend of the Mask. I mean, and it might be great. I mean, but it's difficult to tell. I'm no expert on these kinds of things. But
Yeah. So the
I wish
reason
I
why
was.
I don't think it is an original game is the fact that Nintendo already has two development studios making Zelda games.
Mm.
And that is they have their major Zelda studio, which makes the console games, and they have their smaller Zelda studio, which makes the handheld games. But I think Eiji Aonuma confirmed the fact that the next quote unquote handheld Zelda game would still be a Switch game, or at
Mm.
least he alluded
So
to it. So if there's like a
so
sequel
no
to
more
Link Between
3DS.
Worlds, it would be on Switch.
No more 3DS Zelda games.
Yeah.
3DS is basically discontinued when it comes to new games, I think.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I think we saw a lot of new games be announced for 3DS, like this year. But I think next year we're gonna see like the last few 3DS games because Nintendo has seen what a huge success the Switch is. Like there's no reason for them to make 3DS games anymore.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they had to move on eventually, and this is probably it. So
Yeah.
but Zelda's. I mean, it would be nice to see. I wouldn't be angry if they make like another new Zelda game. I don't think you would be either. We wouldn't be very annoyed with that. Everybody loves Zelda.
Yeah.
It's like there's not like not everyone likes Mario, but everybody likes Zelda, basically, I guess.
So
Okay, that's probably not true.
So what do you think? Okay, so if we have to say that this is a remake, what game would they be remaking?
Oracle of Ages or Oracle of Seasons, maybe,
It's
or
possible.
Link's Awakening, something for the Game Boy, maybe.
Yeah,
I think that would be pretty likely because those are so outdated.
yeah, it's possible.
What do you think?
Yeah, like I've been thinking a lot about it, and yeah, like if you look at the nature of the Majora's Mask and Ocarina of Time remakes, they were full content remakes. Like they were full remakes.
Mm.
They were not remasters like Wind Waker HD and Twilight Princess HD. Those were remasters that kind of had some texture work and stuff like that. Like these were complete remakes. So I don't see why Nintendo would hire them to, for example, remaster Skyward Sword.
No, it's also kind of soon, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean it makes sense because Twilight Princess and Wind Waker has actually been remade. But yeah, I get your point.
Yeah. Yeah, like I don't know what this could be. Like, could it be the DS games?
You mean like Phantom Hourglass and the train one?
Yeah, Spirit Tracks. Like, could it be some kind of because if you were to remake them, you need to like fundamentally change the gameplay. So maybe that's why they're hiring them for this.
I mean, basically, I think you're probably like when you said Skyward Sword, that's probably more likely because it has this interesting mechanic with the sword play, and that's at least possible with the new Joy-Con controllers.
Yeah, but that would still be a port job, though, right?
A port?
A port, and it wouldn't be like a complete remake, which is something that it seems like Grezzo is the ones doing.
Yeah, exactly. They wouldn't remake that in Unreal Engine.
Yeah.
No, that would be weird.
Yeah, that's the weird thing too. Like, I don't think Nintendo would want their Zelda games to be in Unreal Engine as well, right? Like, it has to be a new IP, you know?
Yeah. That's probably the thing that mostly points towards being a new IP.
Yeah.
Because that's just very uncanny of Nintendo to make something in Unreal Engine.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
but yeah, it will be very interesting to see what it is. And we're looking forward to seeing what it could be. But yeah, the next story here is also related to Nintendo Switch, and that is that the Factor 5 president, Julian Egbrecht, he was on Nintendo Voice Chat, IGN's Nintendo podcast, and he talked about Star Wars Rogue Squadron Rogue Leaders for Wii.
Yeah, that's the long title.
So if you're unfamiliar with this game, it was canceled. It was a canceled game, and Factor 5 were the ones making the Rogue Squadron games on like N64 and GameCube. So yeah, they were gonna make this new Wii game, and it got canceled. But apparently, from what like he is saying,
I mean,
this was basically their Mona Lisa. Like this was their best game, and it got canceled.
We've seen some footage. It's like contained. The original Rogue Squadron games are like space fighters.
Yeah.
You basically fly around in an X-wing or other spaceship and do like iconic Star Wars battles. But this I mean, in the article that we read about this also, it's provided some footage from the canceled game, and it's like it contains sword fights that utilize the Nintendo Wii.
Yeah, they used the Wii Motion Plus for one-to-one mapping, for one-to-one lightsaber battles. That's something we never saw anyone do.
Strike each other with laser pointers.
The reason why the reason why this was brought up in the first place, this game that was canceled like 10 years ago or something, is because he wants it to be ported to Switch. And I'm like, yeah, I really want to see that. And obviously, if you're like up to date with what the Star Wars legal situation is right now, is that Disney owns Lucasfilm, and Lucasfilm obviously owns the rights to the games of Star Wars, but EA are currently the ones that are licensed to make Star Wars games. So Julian Eggbrecht mentions in the podcast that the way this would have to go through to be released is that Disney, Lucasfilm, and probably EA needs to accept this happening. And then on top of that, Factor 5 has to bring the band back together in order to actually develop the port.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds pretty unlikely.
Yeah, but where it becomes very likely is because EA has mentioned at multiple times that they will be looking at the sales of FIFA 18 on Switch to judge whether or not they should make Switch games. And they will be deciding that after, I think they said after the Switch has been out for a year, so that should be in March. I think it's a really bad game to judge the demand for, since FIFA is a very niche.
It had some...
it
was controversial with the multiplayer components and whatnot. I think, wasn't there like an issue with multiplayer in FIFA 2018?
I don't know about that, but my point is that I don't think the Switch audience and the FIFA audience is overlapping that much.
No.
You know what I mean? So
I mean, maybe we're just judging from ourselves because we're not that football interested.
Yeah.
But it's just an assumption.
But yeah, so basically if EA decides to make games on Switch, that means that in March, a year after the Switch has come out, EA hypothetically decides to make Switch games, and all of a sudden they don't have a single Switch game, and the Switch has been out for a year. What do you do?
Yeah.
Well, you hire Factor 5 and port this amazing Wii game to Switch.
Yeah, that's definitely an option. I mean, there is always the thing. I mean, it is an old game and it's probably gonna show, so maybe it could be a better idea to just make a new game also. But I mean,
yeah,
if this game is as good as they said, that like his name was
Julian Eggbrecht.
Yeah, as Julian says, then it would be a shame if it wasn't released, I guess. That's what he thinks.
Yeah.
And I understand that because he probably poured his soul into that, heart and soul.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
He does mention in the podcast also that the graphics that they made for this game are like on par with EA's the graphics, or at least the models are on par with the models that EA has made in Battlefront. And even if you look up the footage, he also mentioned that is not final at all, and they have the final build where they were able to implement the highest fidelity models. So any footage from really cool. Rogue Leaders does not actually feature the final versions of the graphics either. But yeah, I really hope this happens because not only do we need a Star Wars game on Switch, but this is actually a game that would fit the platform as well, right?
Yeah, exactly. Using the I'm sorry, I'm having like a brain freeze. Is it like the nunchucks? No, the Joy-Cons. You can use the Joy-Cons.
Yeah, like you can use the Joy-Cons for the lightsaber battles and all of this stuff. So. And the game also supported multiple inputs, multiple sorts of inputs. So you could actually use the classic controller to use in like the space battles and stuff like that. So you would still be able to play the space battles in like a portable mode or something.
Yeah. So I guess the next topic is also about Star Wars.
Yeah. So basically, all the rest of the show is Star Wars. If you don't care about Star Wars, I suppose you can leave. But yeah,
you don't like Star Wars. Then go.
Yeah. So if you are following up on the gaming industry right now, you know that EA made internet history yesterday when we record this. But basically, there was major fan outrage about the microtransaction and loot box nature of Battlefront 2's multiplayer, where basically there were some calculations done and all that. You need 60,000 credits to unlock either Luke or Darth Vader in the multiplayer. And
these are two characters that were like available in the first game for
yeah,
free, right?
in the original Battlefront, or the first Battlefront that EA made, every hero was unlocked from the beginning. You just had to go into the map and pick up this little icon, and you were able to pick a hero. So, where was I? Yeah. So
but in this game,
the loot boxes and all this stuff, people made some calculations about how long it would take to gain 60,000 credits, and they came up with 40 hours. 40 hours of grinding was needed Insane. To unlock Luke or Darth Vader. And this means during these 40 hours, you cannot spend credits on anything else at all. Otherwise, it would obviously be a longer grind. So yeah, and EA made a response on the Star Wars subreddit, or I think it was Star Wars subreddit, some kind of subreddit related to Battlefront 2 at least. And they kind of defended the fact that you have to work for it or something like that. Yeah, there is this comment here. I know like what it means and stuff like that, but I don't really care about it. It's not a good comment anyway. But basically, this comment reached more downvotes than literally any other downvote in Reddit history. So if we look here, and yeah, this is actually an older picture because I've seen a more updated picture, but yeah, at the time of writing, this article was written 19 hours ago as we read this, but I have an updated number also. So at the time of writing, the posting had a total score, upvotes minus downvotes, of a minus 394,000 downvotes. So that means, for perspective, the second most downvoted post had a score of 24,000. So that means not only this is like this is like the first post in Reddit history to pass 100,000 downvotes. So yeah, but I've also seen a picture where it's as high as 500,000 downvotes. So yeah, it's just rising.
People are really like, nowadays we are keen on noticing when the game is rigged for you to like pay for it. And I mean, this is kind of a perfect example. 40 hours of gameplay to unlock one of the characters.
Yeah, character.
You're not meant to be able to do that
without paying.
You're supposed to pay to get that character, and it's basically impossible if you don't pay. So, and that's something that people don't really like, and we are not supposed to tolerate that either, because we've purchased the game and the characters were already available in the first game, and now we have to pay for one of the characters. Doesn't make any sense. It's just, it's been programmed to be impossible to, I mean, if you have a life.
Yeah.
To get those characters.
Yeah, exactly. And this kind of goes back to the RPG and progression problem that I think the gaming industry has. Like, there is a difference between grinding to get something and just playing the game to get something. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And this is something, I mean, it's a very good measuring tool to say how many hours it takes to get it, because you're probably gonna play for at least like 2 or 5 hours the first week, we say.
Yeah.
And then you're probably, if you have something that's unlocked after 5 hours, you're gonna get that. But if it's 40 hours, that's insane.
Yeah, it's completely insane. And also, considering the fact that Star Wars is a more mainstream franchise, that means that people who maybe only get games like FIFA, NHL, Madden every year, and like a Call of Duty game, like, they are very likely to get this game, right? So these are people like maybe like play an hour a week or something. Like, they're so far away from getting Luke and Darth Vader that it's not even a realistic milestone, you know?
Yeah. So what characters are you left with if you don't have like Luke and Darth Vader? Do you have like the the guy in backstage actor too, or is it like
there are some unlocked characters from the beginning, I believe, like Darth Maul and Rey and stuff like that. Some characters like that
oh
are
yeah.
unlocked from the beginning. But yeah. Anyway, after this huge backlash, EA responded a little bit better this time and decided to slash the pricing of pretty much all of these really expensive characters, including Luke and Darth Vader, with 75%. 75% price cut on these characters. So
that's 10 hours.
Yeah, so they went from Luke and Darth Vader went from 60,000 credits to 15,000 credits. I still think they shouldn't have to be unlocked, but I guess it's a better reason. Yeah, I'm just very down on
10
Star
hours
Wars Battlefront in general. I have decided that I'm not gonna buy this game until it's cheap enough for me to buy it solely for the single player campaign. So yeah, just generally very disappointed in EA right now, with canceling, not just canceling the Visceral game, but also like the clear mishandling of that game to begin with, and also this just fuck up with Battlefront 2.
It's probably the mishandling that's actually like you can accuse like them for, because I mean canceling a game, that's probably like, yeah, sometimes you have to cancel games.
Yeah, yeah, of course. Like, yeah, the mishandling is the bad part. But yeah, like when, like back in like 2014 or something, when this deal between Lucasfilm and EA was announced, I was really excited. Like, yeah, EA, they're gonna make great games. And Battlefront, the original Battlefront, while it was like very light on content, it was still a great game, and it was a beautiful game at that too. And now we're just 2 years after that first game, and I have no faith in EA whatsoever at this point. Like, this is horrible. Like, they're not treating the Star Wars license in a good way, if you ask me.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna play Star Wars 2. As you said, you're going to buy it when it's cheap enough to like that you think it's worth it. And I know that there's probably a discount coming this December.
Yeah, they did announce in like a financial briefing that they're gonna discount the game around the launch of The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
So I'm like, why would I buy it if you're gonna price cut it? Yeah.
Yeah. I'm probably gonna buy it for like Swedish national, I don't know, pride or something, because it's DICE that's been making the game, and I've actually been to DICE.
Yeah.
It's cool. So I mean, I'm probably gonna buy it to check it out, and it's probably like a good game, but I mean, somebody is in charge for these kind of microtransactions. I mean, there has to be somebody that says that we should have, like, don't make the characters available, like, hide them away so that people have to put in effort or pay for them.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's probably the bad part. I don't think the game is probably good. It's just that there's these things that are kind of repulsive.
Yeah, my problem with it too is that I saw a video. I don't remember who shared it, but it was a video with someone who spent literally as much money as he could in Battlefront 2.
Oh.
And he goes into a space battle and he literally just mows down everybody. And okay. I'm like, great. They just ruined the multiplayer too.
Jesus Christ, that's possible?
Yeah.
That sucks.
Like, he just bought his way to victory. And at that point, I'm like, yeah, I don't even want to play this, because like, I'm not going to spend time in a game where I am at an extreme disadvantage because I don't want to pay money. Like, that's not okay.
I mean, it's like you have football, because that's a game too, and then you just pay extra money, and then the other team can't play. They can't have as many players on the field.
Yeah, like that
would not make sense.
There is a thing for that. Like, there are some people that do drugs to be better at
Yeah.
sports, and that's illegal. And that's exactly what this is.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you have to have some fairness in games because it's supposed to be like somewhat equal. It's not games are supposed to be competitive in this nature of games at least.
Yeah.
I mean, then you can't just allow people to buy. That would be so disgusting if that happened in real life. If that in like real life sports.
Yeah. And just look at a game like Overwatch. Overwatch is the game that popularized loot crates in modern games, and
Mm.
it's all cosmetics. It's all cosmetics. There's nothing about
Mm.
the actual game being functional that you get in microtransactions in Overwatch, and that includes all the characters. All the characters are completely available from the beginning of the game. So
Mm. But I really think that this is. I mean, that's a good way to implement microtransactions too. That's better, at least.
yeah,
I'm not sure it's good, but it's better than what this is. And I think that's. It seems like microtransactions to get things in games are becoming like standard because even in games like Forza Horizon, you could buy like car spins. And I mean, there's no reason why they would have some kind of lottery unless it was like a lottery thing, unless it was for people to have a reason to like buy lottery exchange tickets so they can like get all the cars. It's like every game nowadays forces some kind of microtransaction mechanic into them,
yeah,
into the game. It's usually not developed in a good way. It's just like, oh, and also we need to get cash.
yeah. And it also seems like games are designed in a way that it would be possible to do that too, right?
Yeah.
But yeah. All right. So let's move on to the next Star Wars topic, which is that let's see. Disney has announced that for their upcoming Disney streaming service that they announced like a month ago or something, they will be making a Star Wars TV series, a live action Star Wars TV series. And also around this time, Disney announced that Ryan Johnson, the guy who is directing Star Wars Episode 8, will be kind of the like the watcher, like the overlord of a new Star Wars trilogy.
mm.
So let's talk about the Star Wars trilogy first. What do you think this could be?
I mean, I think from what I understand about this is probably gonna be something new, and that's hopefully not just the same. As I mean, we spoke about this, and we talked about how this was not gonna include the Skywalker family, right?
Yeah, it's not gonna have any
Is that
Skywalkers.
is that a fact or is that just speculation?
It's a fact. It's supposed to be a completely separate trilogy.
Okay, yeah, then I think we can expect something that's probably more like if we think of this trilogy that's being made right now with Rey,
Yeah.
it's very similar to the original trilogy, and it's no, yeah, the original trilogy, and it's also connected to it because it's 7 years later or something.
It's 30 years later, but yeah.
30 years later, yeah. I'm sorry, I'm so out of it. Yeah, but it's like it's in the same timeline. There are some reoccurring characters, and the story has similar things going on, such as the Death Star. I mean, it's like there's like the third Death Star.
Yeah.
I mean, I hope this trilogy, if it's not gonna contain the Skywalker family, it's probably gonna be something, and that's my hope, that it's something different.
Yeah, I hope too that it's something completely different. My fear is that they're gonna be like, oh, let's make the original trilogy again, but with new characters.
Yeah, another trilogy
Yeah.
that's just like the first one.
Yeah.
Then we have like three trilogies that are similar.
Yeah. But let's see. I'm hoping it's set in like the prequel era, honestly.
Yeah,
I really
that would be
like the
cool.
prequel era. A lot of people don't like the prequel era. I think the major problem with the prequel era is the fact that George Lucas was a little bit weird with like how the movies were put together. But I think if you were to set like a new trilogy of movies in this era of Star Wars with modern
Mm.
technology, modern CG, modern practical effects, and all of this stuff, I think it would look extremely cool, and I think it would be a really cool world to come back to.
Yeah, because let's be honest. I mean, the prequel era with the Jedi Council and the Clone Wars and everything. I mean, it kind of is more interesting than the era that is the original trilogy or the era that is the new trilogy with Rey. I mean, because if we look at the original trilogy, I mean, basically there's not much going on around the scenes that I remember. At least it's
Yeah.
like they blow up the Death Star and it's Darth Vader and it's the Emperor
Yeah, exactly.
and it's
It's
Luke.
all about these people. There's nothing going on around them, basically. Nothing of importance
Yeah.
happening. While in this like a massive world that the prequel era is in, like there's always something happening everywhere, right? Because
Yeah.
yeah, it's not
There's
like a
like
desolate
conflicts, there's
world like
war,
the original
there's
trilogy is.
no, exactly. It's like the original trilogy, I can't speak, is a space feeder. It's like you get these scenes and everything works out in the end.
Yeah.
But in the prequels, you have politics and wars going on in the background, and you still follow the characters. But
Yeah.
it's not like every scene contain the characters you're
And
following.
I thought that was such a missed opportunity in Force Awakens too. Like they talk about this new republic and all that, but we
Mm.
only see them once when their planet is is destroyed. Or one of
Yeah.
their planets is destroyed.
Wow.
So yeah.
And we don't really know anything about them. And even the evil, like the bad guys, weren't especially interesting too. They were bad guys. You didn't get to know anything about their. I mean, okay, I usually say too much. I can't provide proof for this, but there wasn't much culture
Yeah.
or like reasoning behind them being bad.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I hope the future movies will be kind of give more contexts to Force Awakens, but yeah. Yeah, it's really
Mm.
hard to kind of speculate what it could be because we really have nothing other than yeah, it won't be Skywalkers. Yeah, I would like it to be a
Mm.
prequel era or like before. Yeah, it would obviously be like before the prequel era. Um,
Yeah. At the same time, it would be nice if it was like in the future, because then it's not, you don't know what's gonna
yeah,
happen.
that would be cool too. They would have it would be an entirely new frontier there, right?
Mm.
Um,
Because a lot of the movies, like the last one, was a prequel to the first Star Wars movie. So we've had a lot of prequels.
so if I don't know if they've announced when these movies are supposed to come out, but you'd assume that they come out after episode 9, right?
Yeah, I hope so. Otherwise, it'll be really confusing.
Yeah. And at that point,
Like people are not gonna understand what the chronological order of things
yeah,
are.
and at that point, the conflict has probably been resolved, right? With the First Order and
Mm.
all of that. So at that point, you would be able to set this new trilogy in a world that is at peace, and there's a new fight happening. So
Yeah, yeah. It's interesting because we've also like talked a lot about Star Wars and how there's three movies that's like this. There's this trilogy going on now, and now there's going to be another after this
and
probably.
there's also the
And
anthology movies.
yeah, exactly. That's like in between the current
Yeah.
movies. So there's like never ending. I mean, the trilogy isn't even completed,
Yeah.
and we're getting announcements that there's gonna be another one.
Yeah. So Yeah, to kind of summarize it, like we have the new trilogy, we have another new trilogy, we have a new TV show that's coming out, we have the Rebels animated TV show as well. We have books that are released all the time, and yeah, and the anthology movies. Like there's so much, and
Yeah,
also Star Wars games. So yeah, there's so much Star Wars content. Like the question is, like, is there too much? Is there too much Star
yeah.
Wars?
Can there be too much? Is it too much already?
Yeah, like my
Because
opinion is
yeah,
that if you were to release the movies alone and have some games sprinkled in there from EA, right? I think that would be enough. And also the TV shows. Like that would be enough. That would be like Marvel, right? The
mm,
problem that why I think Marvel works and not why I think Star Wars will be overwhelming is that the books are also tied into the same universe, while and the books and the comics are tied in the same universe. So you always see like these, oh, there are comics and books coming out all the time. You just feel like you're missing stuff all the time and you feel like you're not being caught up on the universe. While with Marvel, it's just the movies and the TV shows are kind of not really that important, right?
mm, yeah, yeah. I understand what they're aiming for. There's like one movie every year now, and it's probably gonna be at least one movie every year for the following like 10 years or something.
Yeah.
And that's I mean that's reasonable for the average viewer. That's like probably most people are not gonna watch the TV series. They're probably just gonna watch maybe the movies in theaters.
Yeah.
I mean, one movie per year it's pretty okay. But if you look at the complete pictures, it's insane how many things they're releasing.
Yeah, exactly. I'm also kind of afraid it's gonna have like the Halo 5 syndrome where you have this like comic series on the side where you introduce all these
Hmm.
characters and then all of a sudden they show up in the main games and they don't give you any context about who they are. And I'm afraid
Yeah.
that that's going to happen to Star Wars where they've like introduced characters in like the comics and the books that no one reads other than the super fans, and then they show up as like
Hmm.
as like major characters in like the new trilogy or something, and you don't get any context of who they are, you know.
Yeah, and maybe they like in the Halo 5 pre-Halo 5 comics there was like this weird thing where they kind of killed off the bad guy. It's like yeah, you know that bad guy from the last game that you know you weren't sure if he was dead or not. Yeah, they made a comic to really like confirm that he's dead, but he was alive, but now he's dead because there was this team of Spartans that killed him again.
Yeah, that's
It's like why did you make a comic
yeah. Why don't you just kill him?
doing something so important? Yeah, just let him be dead in the first place if that's the case.
Yeah, but yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Just quickly before we finish off the show here, what do you think the TV show will be? I'm really afraid it's just gonna be another like Marvel TV show where it's just a bunch of corridors with like kung fu, you know.
Yeah. We have had Star Wars TV shows before, like you mentioned, Rebels, right?
Yeah, and Clone Wars.
Yeah, I hope it's something like that. I have watched some episodes of them. I
Yeah,
think
like
they were pretty decent.
the problem there though is this is gonna be a live action TV show. An animated show, like
Oh,
everything's made from scratch. You can just make everything, you know, right? But like the Star Wars
okay.
movies are they have like these really expensive props, right?
Yeah,
And I'm just kind of afraid that the TV series is not gonna have the same budget, so it's gonna feel extremely just not right. And
yeah,
I think something that the TV series could do that I think would be really cool is the fact that it could actually be set in one location for the entire show. And I
mm,
think that could be really cool in the Star Wars universe, a universe where you just jump around planets all the time.
yeah. I hope they do that. I hope they like have a group of characters that like have their own adventures or what to say on their own planet or maybe a few planets instead of doing like some very big series with a lot of story. Like keep it simple. That's what I would say.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
because
there's a chance for them to actually make something different there, right?
just don't do what Halo did. Don't do like 500 different types of small series that are like not very interesting and like 4 or 5 episodes, because or maybe it's only 2 episodes or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, like just make it a good series.
Yeah, let's hope for the best.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think this Disney streaming service will be really interesting. It's supposed to debut in the United States in 2019 and then expand further after that. And like yeah, they're in talks with Fox to actually like buy entertainment properties from them. So there are rumors that this Disney service will be the exclusive place to watch things like The Simpsons. Like that would be
Okay.
insane.
Yeah. I mean, it's not really good for the viewer like us. I mean, the best thing for us would be if like maybe it was on Netflix or something. I suppose. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I mean it's competition. Competition is good.
Yeah.
Do you get me, or am I just like saying weird things?
No, there's actually a lot of concern around the Fox Disney deal that Disney is becoming too big. And yeah, like there's definitely some real concern there.
Yeah, because I mean, it's kind of like when you have Apple, Windows, and Google, it's kind of the same thing here. That when something becomes big enough, they want to make everything their own. They're like, we're going to have our own streaming service, and that means that you're not going to get a lot of things on the already available streaming services. They're probably going to be purchased by let's say Disney. So instead of having to pay for HBO and Netflix, maybe now you have to pay for HBO, Netflix, and Disney to be able to get the series you like to watch.
Yeah, exactly. We definitely don't need more streaming services, but let's hope Disney's streaming service is at least one of the good ones, right?
Yeah.
Like I hope it's more of a Netflix rather than an HBO. Because HBO I get and I watch Game of Thrones, and then I don't have it when Game of Thrones is over. While Netflix is one of these services that it has so much good and varied content that yeah, you can just keep it around all the time.
And Spotify has just become like the obligatory music service that you have to have because it's just the best. I mean, it's just the official streaming music service kind of.
Yeah.
There's probably others out there, but I mean.
But yeah, there's Apple Music and Google Play Music, but Microsoft streaming service is dead now. There's also services like Tidal and Pandora and stuff like that. Spotify is basically definitely the biggest one. But yeah, I think that is it for this episode of Rebreak Radio. You can follow me at Dennis_Lofgren on Twitter. And I'm gonna promise you that I'm not gonna be utilizing the entirety of the new 280 character limit on Twitter. Yeah, like speaking about that, like Twitter increased the character limit to 280 characters, and I have noticed that I do not read as many tweets anymore.
Seriously?
Yeah. Tweets are just too long now.
That's amazing. That the whole point of Twitter was to keep them short.
Yeah. So yeah.
And it actually worked. Now that we know that you read less tweets when they are longer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
amazing.
Yeah, you can also follow the channel on at Rebreak Radio. And with that, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, share the video with your friends, and we'll see you again next week.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.